Hello agents! In today's developer diary we have loads to share with you about where the game is at the moment, what we're working on and what's coming in the upcoming weeks. But before that, we've got something really cool to show you.
Only in New York can you find Broadway. See the glimmering lights shining so bright, turning night to day. Only in New York can you rise to the top. Like the Empire State, you gotta be great when you get your shot. Where can you find that magic? Only in New York.
Yes, the Division Resurgence is coming to the US for our next test, as well as in Brazil and Australia, but more on that later. Once more, players will be able to enjoy a big portion of the early story missions, plenty of side missions and open world activities, play in PvP activities, or enjoy our unique PvPvE Dark Zone activity. Our last regional beta was an opportunity for us to gather some amazing feedback thanks to you, and we have been hard at work improving the game based on all that we've learned. In today's Dev Diary, we're going to go through the main changes that you can look forward to testing very soon. Starting out in the Division Resurgence may feel like putting on an old pair of boots for some, but can also come with a steep breaking period if you're new to the franchise. That is why we have redesigned the first few missions in order to make it both easier to understand for newcomers and quicker to get through for fellow agents who are excited to plunge deep into the heart of the action. After a short tutorial phase during which you now have the option of testing each specialization, you will meet up with a veteran Division agent for your first critical mission before heading out into the open world to explore alone or play with friends. Following your feedback, the overall balancing of the game is also under scrutiny, with changes being brought to the following elements: overall progression and economy, weekly bounties, weapon and gear progression, as well as player power score. We hope that this will make them less grindy, easier to understand, more enjoyable and more rewarding, with rare loot being available to you earlier. So you've just upgraded your latest weapon, slapped on a new OS protocol, and you want to benchmark your new loadout? Well, this is where the Lone Wolf Challenge shines. This challenge is a brand new game mode in the Division franchise that allows you to test yourself in a series of levels of increasing difficulty that each have a fixed skill cap, meaning that you will be able to precisely monitor your progression and builds at every step of your journey. At the start of each level, you get to choose one of 3 temporary skills, so you can pick the one that best fits your playstyle. This is a solo activity that will reward you more the more consecutive levels you can finish. Moreover, the faster you finish each level, the better your final rating and the more interesting the rewards, making this a great way to test your gear and your skill while grabbing some nice loot on the way. Are you looking for the ultimate challenge? You're going to need a really good team though. You've got that already? Well, you're in luck, because we're adding legendary instance challenges. These endgame missions will push you further than anything else you've encountered so far, except maybe for that one guy in the Dark Zone that one time, but that's another story. These legendary instance challenges will get refreshed every week, meaning that you will always have something fun for you to sink your teeth in. So, you want to go out in the Dark Zone, but your squad isn't around to lend a hand? Or maybe you're just fed up with doing all the heavy lifting every time. Well, why not consider going in solo thanks to the new Solo Dark Zone queue. This way you'll only be matched against other solo players, meaning your experience there should be much more enjoyable, or at least it will give you a slightly better chance of survival. Maybe, if you're not as bad as I am, but yeah. Following your feedback and data from our last test, the mobile cover ability for the Vanguard specialization has been reworked. Now when using this ability, you are able to enhance any cover in the game for you and your allies using it, giving you more protection and firepower. This change allows the skill to feel more intuitive to use in combat while giving the Vanguard specialization a stronger tactical role when playing as a squad. A recommended power score is being added for activities, modes and missions to help players understand if they are ready for the challenge at hand. You can find this score on the map menu when selecting any mission or activity. While you can take on challenges that have a higher power score, and while you may even succeed in these, we do recommend sticking to the recommended power scores to enjoy a gaming experience that is optimized to your experience and level. A build guide is being added to help players improve their character level, equipment and power score faster by challenging them to try new things. Indeed, for each specialization, a list of builds and playstyles are recommended for you to try out, with rewards to be collected as you complete these. It's a fun way of discovering new gameplay styles while also collecting some cool gear. The armory is being reworked to make crafting easier and more intuitive, and now includes a new proficiency and tier system. In the upcoming regional beta, we have introduced 3 tiers of equipment: Tier 0, Tier 1 and Tier 2. Tier 0 and Tier 1 equipment can be obtained through completing instances, Dark Zone activities, daily game modes and equipment crafting. The higher Tier 2 equipment, on the other hand, can only be obtained through the legendary challenge game mode. Completing proficiency tasks for each weapon will increase the proficiency level of the corresponding weapon, and reward you with weapon attribute boosts as well as in-game currencies, weapon upgrade materials, and tier enhancement materials, making improving them even more rewarding. We believe the introduction of these equipment tiers will bring more challenges and more fun to the player's gaming journey. This should also encourage you to actively participate in various game modes and strive to obtain higher quality equipment to increase your power score. OS protocols are a brand new type of gear that you can equip to your character, and one of the big innovations that Resurgence brings to the Division franchise. Through an upgrade to your SHD Watch's operating system, OS, you can now improve your stats in a variety of ways. OS protocols are being reworked to be simpler and more fun, while also having more granularity in their quality, allowing players to better tailor their builds to their playstyle. We've made these not only easier to understand, helping you better craft your ideal build, but also stronger, making them more valuable for seasoned agents. We know how important the open world is in the Division, which is why we're always looking for ways to make it more enjoyable for you. That's why we've added a few cool new things for you to discover, especially now that fast travel has been implemented to any activity unlocked on the open world map. We're also making exploration more rewarding, with minor improvements linked to micro-loot design and earning experience. For example, all around New York City, we've hidden little puzzles and fun side activities that aren't on any map, but can really yield some cool rewards. Since the previous test has ended, we have been working on an overhaul of the Battle Pass to provide a more rewarding experience for players with new system and menus, better and more generous rewards, as well as easier tasks to fulfill. For example, now all activities that grant you experience will also help level up your Battle Pass. When talking about rewards, not only will you be able to unlock them sooner, but they'll also be much more interesting, culminating in a new exotic weapon that you can unlock with each new Battle Pass. We hope that this will make the Battle Pass rewards in Division Resurgence a fun bonus that you will look forward to collecting day after day. Sealed caches in the Division Resurgence are being reworked, with improved offers and content, as well as revised menus and visuals. They are now easier to obtain just by playing the game, and provide you with a great way of obtaining strong augmentations for your gear, as well as high-end OS protocols. You've asked for it, we're unlocking the 60 FPS option for some high-end devices. That's right, many of you noticed that a high frame rate option was already in the game, but not yet usable. For some of the more powerful mobile phones out there, the game can now be run up to 60 FPS for a more fluid and immersive experience. As you may have guessed, the development team have needed extra time to implement all of these changes. Therefore, the game is now planned to launch early of next year, free to play on iOS and Android devices. We've planned another huge test in which you can sink your teeth. Starting on November 16th, the next regional beta will be taking place for players in the US, Brazil and Australia, and run until the end of 2023. This time, we will not be inviting previous test players, but don't worry, we have planned ways for you to access the test if you're really motivated. That's right, we have planned plenty of invitation codes that you can grab to get access to the regional beta. We're handing out these codes to content creators to give out to their audiences, sharing codes via our social platforms, and we're starting a special user-generated content contest that will reward winners with 2 invitation codes they can give out to friends. So if you're not in one of the regions where the beta is taking place, you'll still have loads of opportunities to take part in the test on either iOS or Android. If you're in Southeast Asia, you may want to keep an eye on our social pages there, as we'll be performing a test in this region also in the near future. This could be another fun opportunity to test your skill in Resurgence. Finally, if you want to make sure not to miss the release of the game and want to help us unlock a cool cosmetic set for the whole community, make sure to hit the link in the description below and pre-register now to the Division Resurgence on iOS and Android. Thanks for tuning in today, agents. Stay safe out there. And don't forget that we are our only hope.